Aaron Rodgers has not said yes. He has not said no. And right now, the Pittsburgh Steelers cannot move. The entire franchise is frozen, waiting on one man to make up his mind before the NFL draft changes everything. Rodgers is in contact with the coaching staff. A decision is coming within days. And whatever he says next will either save the Steelers' season before it starts or blow the whole thing up. Let's be clear about what is actually happening here. The Steelers are sitting in what insiders are calling a holding pattern. That is not a phrase teams use when things are going well. That is the language of an organization that has handed control of its offseason to someone who does not even play for them yet. Aaron Rodgers is 42 years old. He is coming off a torn Achilles that ended his first season with the Jets before it even got going. His second year in New York was one of the ugliest stretches of football anyone had seen from a former MVP. The Jets went 5-12. Rodgers threw 28 touchdowns and 11 interceptions, but the team collapsed around him, and he never looked like the guy who won 4 MIP awards in Green Bay. New York cut him loose, and now he is sitting somewhere weighing his options and making Pittsburgh wait. Here is what makes this situation so specific to the Steelers. Pittsburgh does not have a starter right now. Russell Wilson walked out the door. Justin Fields is gone. The Steelers went into this offseason with no plan at quarterback. And the front office apparently decided that betting on Rodgers was worth putting everything else on pause. Draft prep, free agency moves, backup plans. All of it is sitting on hold because Mike Tomlin and the front office believe Rodgers is still capable of leading a team to the playoffs. That belief is not crazy, but it is also not guaranteed. Rodgers has been in regular contact with Pittsburgh's coaching staff. That matters. You do not call an organization repeatedly if you are leaning toward retiring. When players are done, they go quiet. They stop returning calls. Rodgers is still on the phone. That alone is the reason Pittsburgh has not panicked yet. But here is the part that should make Steelers fans nervous. Rodgers has done this before. In Green Bay, he spent multiple off-seasons dragging out his future, keeping the organization in limbo while he figured out what he wanted. The Packers waited, the Packers adjusted, and eventually Rodgers left anyway. Pittsburgh knows this history. Every NFL team knows this history, and yet they are still waiting. Why? Because the alternative is worse. The Steelers' quarterback options right now, if Rodgers says no, include names nobody in Pittsburgh wants to say out loud. The draft has some prospects, but the top guys will be gone before Pittsburgh picks. Free agency at this point is leftovers. If Rodgers walks away, the Steelers are either taking a swing on an unproven rookie or signing someone nobody else wanted. That is why the front office is willing to sit in this holding pattern. It is not confidence. It is math. Now remember what we said at the top. A firm answer is coming within days. That is the part that should have every Steelers fan glued to their phone right now. Because this decision does not just affect 2026, it sets the direction of the entire franchise. If Rodgers comes in and plays well, Pittsburgh is a legitimate playoff team. Their defense is still one of the better units in the AFC. Their running game has pieces. Their offensive line improved. All they need is a quarterback who can manage the game, avoid mistakes in the fourth quarter, and hit the occasional deep ball. Rodgers, even at 42, can do those things. But if his body does not hold up, or if the Achilles created problems that do not show up until training camp, Pittsburgh has nothing behind him. They will have wasted the offseason sitting in a holding pattern while every other AFC team got better, signed players, and built depth. The Steelers will be scrambling in August trying to fix a problem they knew about in March. The fan base is already split. Half of Pittsburgh cannot get past the fact that Rodgers spent years as a divisional rival, making plays against the Steelers in moments that hurt. He is not a guy who grew up rooting for the black and gold. He is a guy who beat them. And now they are supposed to cheer for him? The other half does not care about any of that. They want wins. They want playoff games. They want a quarterback who has been there before and knows what it takes. Rodgers has 4 MVP awards and a Super Bowl ring. Whatever your feelings about his personality, his resume is real. Here is where this gets complicated. Rodgers is not just deciding whether he wants to play football. He is deciding whether he wants to play for a team with real expectations in a city that has no patience for excuses under a coach who does not tolerate drama. Mike Tomlin runs a tight ship. The Jets were chaos. Pittsburgh is not the Jets. If Rodgers comes here, the relationship between him and Tomlin will be one of the most watched dynamics in the entire NFL. Tomlin has never coached a quarterback like Rodgers, not in terms of talent, not in terms of personality. Every starter Tomlin has had, from Ben Roethlisberger to Mason Rudolph to Kenny Pickett, fit a certain mold. Rodgers is something different. He is going to have opinions. He is going to push back. He is going to want input. Whether Tomlin can work with that, or whether it becomes a problem by week 4, nobody knows yet. And here is something people are not talking about enough. Rodgers has a history of needing the offense built around his preferences. In Green Bay, he had input on personnel. He had a voice in the room. When the Packers stopped listening, the relationship broke down completely. In New York, the Jets gave him everything he asked for, and it still fell apart. So the question is not just whether Rodgers can play. The question is whether Pittsburgh is willing to hand him that kind of influence over a locker room they have spent years building a specific way. Tomlin's culture is not negotiable. Ask anyone who has played for him. There is one way things run in Pittsburgh, and it does not change based on who the quarterback is. Roethlisberger had 18 years in that building, and Tomlin still did not bend the structure for him. Rodgers walking in expecting a different arrangement is going to run straight into a wall. There is also the Nathaniel Hackett factor. Hackett was Rodgers' offensive coordinator in Green Bay and followed him to New York. That partnership already showed cracks in 2024. If Rodgers comes to Pittsburgh, he does not get to bring his guy. He has to work within Pittsburgh's system, with Pittsburgh's coaches running Pittsburgh's offense. That adjustment period alone could cost them 2 or 3 wins early in the season. Now add the locker room. Pittsburgh has young players who came up watching Rodgers, but they also came up in Tomlin's program. They are not Jets. They are not going to tiptoe around a 42-year-old if he is not producing. The Steelers' locker room has always policed itself. If Rodgers struggles and brings friction instead of leadership, that room will turn cold fast. Pittsburgh players do not chase clout. They chase rings. That is the real story sitting underneath this holding pattern. Go back to the title. Aaron Rodgers just put the Steelers on hold. That is not spin. That is the actual situation. One quarterback, not under contract, not committed to anything, is dictating the pace of an entire franchise's offseason. And Pittsburgh is letting it happen because they do not have a better option. The decision is coming. Days, not weeks. And when Rodgers finally picks up the phone and gives Pittsburgh a real answer, every team in the AFC North is going to exhale or start making plans. Either way, the Steelers are not moving until he does. If Rodgers says yes, Pittsburgh becomes a different kind of threat overnight. If he says no, the offseason just became a crisis. Watch this space, because whatever comes next is going to define the Steelers' entire 2026 season before a single snap is taken.